Testing. All right, we got it. Sorry about that. Well, but welcome, race fans, to the Texas Motor Speedway. Unfortunately, we don't really have a whole lot of time tonight for a walk through the grid. I'm going to bring that up as I switch the cameras around. We're very rushed tonight, unfortunately, so sorry for that, but I'll switch through some of the grid positions here. You can see as these guys actually line up, and actually I don't think these are even by the right position, so I'll rush through these. These are incorrect. Apologies for that. IRTVO doesn't want to work, but we are at Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas for, I'm not even sure how many laps or what the stages are tonight. But you can see the weather here. These guys are dealing with the iRacing defaults here tonight. And as these guys come around and get ready for the race, I believe Tyler Justice is our pole sitter with Mike Bruno to the outside and Jared Beasley in fourth. I think that's Mark Broderick rather, in fifth. And as we come to the green flag here, I've got Brendan in the booth with me. Apologies for this being a little bit of a rushed intro, but we're about to go green from Texas. Tyler has to wait on the green flag. Green flag is out. Tyler's on the loud pedal, and that SimSpec Chevrolet powers away from the grid. Brendan, already a big stack up behind these guys.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cars in wall one, really slow up high going into turn one right now. That's the number one, I believe. PJ Popham. It is.
So big issues for the number one Speed Vegas machine of PJ Popham. It looks like maybe just couldn't get into the right gear. I'm not really sure what happened there, but yeah, a big issue for the number one car, and he's already dead last out of, I believe, the 27 drivers that we had start this event. And yeah, already a terrible start for him, but back up to the front of the field, Tyler Justice still in the lead. Mike Bruno trailing him in the Gen X Chevrolet. And you see these guys fanning out on the back straightaway. That's Zach Lindgren and Spence Thompson battling off into three. These guys are WFO Motorsports teammates, and Brennan, they're not giving up at all right now.
Oh, not at all.
Oh, Jason Burgess in the fence. Somehow he doesn't come back up the track. It was a pretty good job of locking her down and keeping her in the grass and getting to the apron there. But yeah, you saw Jason Burgess get right in the fence there pretty hard out of turn 4 that time around. And the Bud Light Toyota Camry is already way off pace and quite damaged on the right side. You can see it there. The whole right front of that car is just completely smashed in. The whole right side really is just a pancake now. So Jason Burgess with a lot of big troubles already, and he's possibly having some more. He might be coming to the pits here.
He's pulling it now. Slick racetrack tonight, definitely. That's what they're going to be battling all night. It's not very much grip when you're coming off the corners with the transition with the banking.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him get in the fence so early. I don't think anyone else has really got that the wall quite like that just yet, but he hit it pretty hard. He'll come into the pits, probably sit there for a little bit and get some damage fixed. But either way, back up to the front. So far, Tyler Justice leading Mike Bruno and Bradley Wilson around Texas Motor Speedway. This is a 1.5-mile racetrack, and Brendan, you and I both know there's some history that's going a little ways back here in just this top 10 alone. Would you care to give your thoughts on things so far and what you think might happen here?
I don't know. There's a mix-up between two teams here, two groups of drivers that they don't really agree on everything, and they definitely like to battle each other out. I won't say it won't get dirty at any point in time, but they'll let everybody know where they're at, for sure.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't expect these guys to give an inch right now. Some tempers flared last night in an off-season race that we unfortunately were not able to broadcast to PSI TV, but there were some events that went on last night at Rockingham in the NMNTS SimSpec Truck Series. It's all been sorted out. Admins have taken the necessary steps to prevent anything like that from happening in the future, and I think drivers have cooled down, but certainly, Brennan, something to keep our eye on up here as Bradley Wilson is going underneath the Mike Bruno, trying to get to second place, and honestly, he's going to have a shot at the lead here in just a moment. Tyler Justice with a horrible corner through turns 1 and 2. That's just going to bring that 18 right into the battle for the lead.
Definitely, so far he's had a pretty great looking race car so far. He's able to keep pace with Justice, which usually that means you're doing pretty good here, because anywhere you're as quick or able to keep up with Tyler Justice, you definitely got something going on.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a real good job so far in that number 18 oil can Hancock's machine, Bradley Wilson. I'm very, very surprised by the fact that he's up there and passing these MR machines. I really think Mike Bruno, Tyler Justice are going to be a couple of the best guys in the NMNTS BA Graphics Cup Series in 2018. They run the Cup Series quite a bit, just like they did with the Xfinity cars. So I'm quite surprised that really anyone's going up there and just passing them this early. So, more power to Bradley Wilson for getting up there and trying to make something happen so far. You also see Spence Thompson in the mix. He's up into the top 5. He just got by Mark Broderick.
Another guy seems like he's got it figured out as well. He's actually looks like he's pulling on Jared Beasley a little bit right now. That maybe because of Bruno has slowed Beasley down a little bit, but he is catching up to the back of them.
Yeah, Spence Thompson in the Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry, an Ode to Monster Energy Cup Series champion of 2017, Martin Truex Jr. Pretty nice paint scheme in my opinion. Right now he's doing pretty good, like he just said. I think he's got that car pretty dialed in on the bottom side, and I think he's going to go places right now in that number 89. I think this is the kind of the race that favors him. I think the long run speed is something that he really masters, and I think he'll be able to get up there and mix it up with these guys before the end of this run even. Again, we're not sure on the stage lengths, Brennan. If you could check on that, that'd be great. If not, it's okay. We'll figure it out as we go along. And actually, big bobble there from Bruno.
I do believe our first stage is going to be at 40 laps. I think we're running similar to what it was last night.
Sounds good. Well, we just saw a big bobble out of Bruno out of turn 2. He's going to end up losing the 3rd position to Jared Beasley. Jared Beasley, his teammate, will go right on by in the number 15 car. He'll begin his assault on the number 18 if he can. And, Mike Bruno now falls into the clutches of Spence Thompson. Mark Broderick just behind these guys. He could soon be back in the battle for the top 5. So, folks, this is already heating up, and we're only a small portion of the way in. This is only lap 12 of 125.
10th of the way through it.
As we look further back, a bobble out of Zach Lindgren as well. You see the 4-car, Jackson Allen. He's going to go right on by, take advantage of the 85 having a bobble. Now it's Jimmy McKee getting into the battle. We haven't got a chance to talk about him yet, and he's now passing the 85. He'll easily pass Zach Lindgren right there, but Zach's going to try and battle back on the top side. That number 85 Interstate Batteries machine looking like it's not quite handling how Zach wants it right now. I know he's relatively new to the Cup Series and relatively new to the Toyotas in general, so that could be a small bit of it. I believe these cars handle very slightly differently depending on the manufacturer to model their real-life counterparts, but I could be completely off base. Either way, Zach Lindgren right now has fallen back to the 9th position, just ahead of teammate Terry Mason, affiliate teammate Terry Mason.
Now going to make the assault on Jackson Allen just up ahead. He looks like he is going to get him cleared through here. Jackson running really wide there.
Yeah, Jimmy McKee has the inside line around the number 4 car, and it looks like he'll complete the pass off into turn 1, but Jackson's not giving up. Jackson Allen fighting back on the top side the best he can, and that Daniels Cardinale Incorporated driver doing pretty good so far in the early runnings of this race, although it looks like he's starting to lose the handle of that race car just a little bit in that number 4 Ford.
Ahead. Just missed a really good battle between Beasley and Spence Thompson there. Spence able to get past Beasley. It's going to put him in 3rd now.
So now Spence Thompson gets to play around with Jared Beasley and possibly even his team owner, Bradley Wilson, up ahead of him. So we could see some teamwork come into play. Obviously, these are two rival teams working against each other. Not in any bad way other than they just want to beat each other. And I think that's where it's at for right now. So I think, we could see the 89 and the 18 kind of work for each other, and the same thing between the 15 and the 19, where they might try and possibly work on some sort of strategy on each side to try and beat the other. I mean, these guys, they are a couple of the top teams in the NMNTS Racing Series, so they got to try and figure something out to go fast. So, that's just what it boils down to.
And meanwhile, the 7 is checked out like he normally tends to do in these races. He's way ahead now.
Yeah, and as we look back from the number 7 car, you can see just how long the gap is, all the way back to now the side-by-side teammates of Bradley Wilson and Spence Thompson.
Oh, contact. Bradley Wilson's going to go around. Spence got in the back of him. Able to keep it going. I don't think we'll see a caution.
And you know that was a complete accident, but yeah, Bradley Wilson somehow able to save that race car. He's going to continue on, but he definitely has a lot of left rear damage to that number 18 car.
Definitely, that's a tough break for him. He's had a really good car from the start there.
He almost crowded Jared Wishon up into the fence, but not intentionally. Obviously, you know, Brad's still trying to get a handle on that race car after nearly going for a catastrophic spin in turns 1 and 2, so he was just trying to gather it back up. But man, he almost collected that 96 off there in turns 3 and 4 there. And let's see if we can get a replay on that, actually. We're going to go back about 40 seconds, try and get a replay on this, see what happens. So watch the 18 here. He was on the outside of Spence Thompson, his teammate, in the 89, going off into turns 1 and 2. And yeah, I think just a miscommunication. And wow, that's just one heck of a job by Bradley Wilson to save that race car. You saw it completely sideways, and I'll tell you what, that's his dirt experience kicking in, enabling him to catch that thing and get back going. Unfortunately, obviously, it's going to hurt his downforce. He's got less left rear downforce at this point, considering it's completely... the spoiler's completely pushed in, but I think he'll still manhandle that car around here to try and get a couple of spots back and get back into this thing.
Yeah, and Spence Thompson as well, not going to benefit too well out of that. He's got a lot of right front damage from that incident there. Bruno somehow has managed to get all the way back up to second now. I don't know. I think that may have been with the incident there that he gained the spots back.
Yeah, that definitely was, of course, considering those two were nearly wrecking in turns 1 and 2. The 89 went way up the racetrack to try and keep from anything else happening, and while that happened, the 19 of Bruno was able to go right by him.
Tri-oval. It's Johnson big time loose going through the tri-oval there. Beasley catch it right up on his tail.
So as the battle rages on between these two, Spence Thompson and Jared Beasley going to check in one more time on the number 18 of Bradley Wilson. He's actually lost another spot. That car obviously not handling how he needs it after that contact with his teammate. But I think the biggest thing is that he gathered it back up and got back straightened out. And we'll continue on to that number 18, Olcan Hancock's BA graphics machine. But certainly, pretty much disaster averted for that team. And, yeah, just a great job right there.
Yeah.
And please excuse me for one moment. I've got to tend to something on the stream. So as we continue on, Brendan, let's look through the field a little bit. Obviously, we've got Bradley Wilson on screen now in the 12th position, but let's roll back from him. Kenneth Yantz just behind him in the 13th spot, and the number 72 actually battling with the 17 of Alan Westman. Alan Westman going to go by easily on the top side right there, but actually Ken is battling back on the bottom. He's trying to get that spot back. Almost made contact at a 2. Ken's going to be the bigger man. Let him go there. And crisis averted again. He moved further back. The guy who was in 27th not too long ago, PJ Popham, has now moved up into the 15th spot. Unfortunately, we're having a bit of a moment here. We'll see if we can get it sorted back out. I believe we're coming back. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. Had a bit of a freeze. It happens from time to time, but carrying on. Currently, like I said, in the 15th spot, PJ Popham has moved all the way back into a pretty decent position, given what he started out with here, Brennan. The number 1 car now in P15 and looking pretty good while he does it.
Yeah, he's running a lot higher than what I've seen a lot of other people doing. I don't know what he's doing there. He's almost up into the high side of the fence there, whereas everybody else is trying to keep it around the bottom. Interesting line for him. Let's see if he can make it work and move forward.
And something's a bit up with my what I've got here, because my scoring is, yeah, I don't know what's up with it, but oh, I guess actually Kenny Yonce's laps down. I was trying to figure out why it wasn't going to Kenny Yonce when I moved back, but Kenny Yonce is actually a couple laps down, 7 laps down right now in the number 77 machine there. I'm not sure on the sponsor, so I don't want to say the wrong thing for the sponsor on the 77 car, but yeah, I mean, he's 7 laps down. I don't know what happened to the 77 car, but he is quite a ways behind. We'll see if he can try and battle back from that tonight.
Yeah, don't know what incident he may have had. I did see earlier he was pulling out of the pits, though, so definitely something not going right for him so far tonight.
In the 16th spot, we've got Trevor Harmon currently running around in that number 27 Riot Racing machine. Pretty much just calmly, I think is the way to put it. He's had a bit of a rough preseason in the NMNTS Racing Series, so good to see him just settling in and gathering his bearings while he runs ahead of David Heiser right now in the Tide Ride, the number 711 right now. Doing the same thing as Trevor Harmon, moved further back. I think David Levine has struggled with the wall a little bit. You can see some obvious damage to his right side. We'll bring up the driver long info for him. He started in the 13th position, and he's currently all the way back to 18th. And yeah, actually he's in the fence again. David Levine having some issues here early. I know he hasn't really run much of the preseason here with the NMNTS Racing Series, so that could be playing into what's going on here for that number 59 DLR ride. Yeah, David having some issue, I know, or some issues rather. I know he was rather busy today, and I won't comment too much on it, but I know he was testing for some interesting things off in North Carolina. Nothing's going to come to fruition, I don't think, but actually you have the 69 very, very slow on the bottom side. No front end on that car. So we'll move on from David. I think he was testing at one of the short tracks in North Carolina just randomly for a team. There's nothing to it. But John Barron out of Georgia with a ton of front end damage. I don't know what just happened to him, but I think that's his race done. It looks like he might have even flipped over.
We did not get a caution there. Interesting. Oh, big time in the wall for David Levine there. That bouncing off the wall, a little bit of contact with someone else that didn't catch it. It looks like he just missed him. That was the 13 car of Joseph Andahar.
Well, I want to go back and I want to get a read on what happened to John Barron first, since that's who we were with. So we'll try and get a replay on what happened to the 69 machine. Looks like he was following the 52 of Ryan Daniels around the track, and we'll just watch from here, see what happens to John Barron. Obviously, a ton of damage. He's probably very much done for the night. Looks like possibly out of turn 4. No, he gets loose through the quad oval. He's going to get into the grass and was trying to just gather it back up. Ended up just not gathering it back up, and he did flip over. And I'm not sure how we didn't get a yellow from that. He was completely flipped over as the leaders went by him. So unfortunately, that will probably be his night. Completely ended rather early within the first stage. Now we go back to David Levine, who's having some troubles in the number 59 machine. He's definitely pushing a lot. He's got a lot of damage, and we'll try and go back and see what happened with him, and I believe the 13 you said. We'll see what's going on here. You had Jason Alexander coming up to his inside. He had got the wall down the back straightaway and just, was trying to gather it back up. Ended up narrowly missing the 13 of Jason Andujar, or Joseph Andujar. I don't know why I just said Jason. But Joseph Andujar narrowly escapes crisis there with the 59. And David Levine carries on, obviously, though, with a ton of damage to that car. And We'll see if he can get it straightened out as the night goes on. Right now, has fallen all the way back to the 20th position.
The 27 of Trevor Harmon just pulled into the pits with a lot of damage too. We just looked at him and he was not having any issues at all. So something just recently happened there.
Well, we're watching the replay now. Center of your screen.
Loose.
Well, we hadn't quite gotten there yet, but yeah, he's going to get loose out of turn 2, smack both walls, and he's going to bring it down to the pits for obvious reasons after that bit of a spill, really, out of turn 2 there. And yeah, for obvious reasons, he's now in the pits with a bunch of damage to both sides of that race car. Back up to the front of the field, Tyler Justice really has just drifted off to a zip code of his own. He's well ahead of second place Mike Bruno, almost 5 seconds, and this is the Tyler Justice of old, so it's good to see him finding his bearings, at least in the NMNTS BA Graphics Cup Series, considering he's had some troubles recently, getting out to that kind of a lead, both in the NMNTS Pit Stop Insider TV Super Series on Sunday nights and the SimSpec Truck Series on Monday night. So really good to see him finding his bearings here, getting back to his old self, and this could be good for him moving forward. It could basically just lead to bigger things for that number 7 machine.
And we are coming up to a white flag on towards the end of stage 1 here.
As the white flag falls on the stage, actually no, the caution's going to be thrown prematurely. So the caution comes out 1 lap prematurely, and that will be their stage break here at Texas Motor Speedway. Mike Bruno is your second place driver at the end of stage 1. Tyler Justice, as you can see on your screen, has led every lap so far and will walk away with stage number 1. Spence Thompson will end up finishing the stage in 3rd place, and that's your top 3 through the stage. Spence Thompson in 3rd, Mike Bruno in the 2nd spot, and Tyler Justice in 1st. We'll bring up the whole of the top 10 here. You see Jared Beasley in 4th. Jimmy McKee worked his way all the way up into 5th spot in the number 8 car, with Jared Wishon moving up into 6th. Terry Mason in 7th. Zach Lindgren is going to hang on for the 8th position at the end of stage 1, with Corey Walters in 9th. And Alan Westman will come home in stage number 1 in the 10th position here, Brennan. And we're going to see if we can bring up some information about Texas Motor Speedway real quick as we head into the stage break. It is located in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, USA. It is 1.46 miles long, so a mile and a half. The track temp is near 90 degrees, and there's obviously 4 corners. It is a NASCAR track after all. So you see David Levine actually going by. Looks like he'll opt to take the wave around under the stage break, as well as a couple other drivers. We'll watch that real quick. I believe there was someone else with him.
O2 and the below.
I think David Levine will actually be your lucky dog recipient. Gordon Larson, Billy Hargrove also going to opt to stay out and try their hand at a wave around here under this caution. And as we look at the pit lane, you can see everyone getting into their pit boxes. PJ Popham actually completely misses his by a couple of stalls, and he's going to back up a little too far again. Missed his stall twice, and he finally gets back into his stall. You'll see these guys starting to pull off. We'll switch back to some of these guys still in the pits. I think the number 1 car would actually be a good idea, as he'll be there the longest. You can see the race off of pit road now.
Bruno actually is going to beat Tyler Justice off the pits. So coming to the beginning of the next stage, we'll have a new leader.
You can see Spence Thompson, Bradley Wilson both staying in the pits for quite a while, getting repairs to their cars from their WFO crews, and they'll roll back out. Looks like PJ Popham may be the last of these guys to roll out. Actually, no, Ryan Daniels will be. Ryan Daniels will roll out of the pits last. Looks like he was actually one of the last ones to get in as well, so that makes sense there for his number 52 DCI crew. And obvious struggles so far for Ryan Daniels in the 52. He's helped out quite a bit here at PSI TV. Got to thank him for that and give him a quick shout out as he tries to get that Caterpillar Toyota Camry somewhere towards the front, hopefully. I know he's preparing for this weekend's I don't know the name of it, but it's a Daytona 500 event that you can catch on OSR Network. The name is just not coming to me right now, so unfortunately I can't help you there. But you can catch it on OSR Network on YouTube if you would like to, and I definitely suggest that you do. Up towards the front, I believe we have time to get Tyler Justice in here for a Stage 1 winning interview, so we'll move him up in just a moment. And Brennan, I've actually got to get a drink of water if you can take this interview, please.
Sure.
What do you say?
Tyler, this is Brennan in the PSI TV booth. You got a copy with us?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Alrighty, buddy. Well, you came out there and you put on a demanding lead there as we, the Tyler Justice of old, we can almost say. It's good to see that back from you. Stage 1 winner so far. How's this car feeling for you tonight?
It's definitely a handful. I can say that. I mean, first couple laps feel all right, but after you get a few laps on the tires, it starts to get real bad loose, and you have to really play with the throttle through the corner. But I think if we can handle that and keep it near the front for the last stage, we might have a chance at this thing.
Yeah, I see. Mike Bruno actually beat you off the pits there. You had a little bit of issue. You were spinning the tires a little bit too long, and he got you off the line there. You gonna be able to compete with him at the beginning of the next stage, or you think you can walk right around him, or?
I think we'll be able to hang with him. I mean, can't really push too early, or you get yourself in trouble here. So right now, I'm just gonna see if I can ride right here and make it to this last stage and go from there.
Alrighty, well the lights are out on the pace car, so we'll go ahead and get you moved back down and get you all ready to go for the green flag here.
Alright, appreciate it, man.
That was Tyler Justice out of the Evil Outlaws camp here in the NMNTS Racing Series. You can see he's led all but about 2 or 3 laps now so far tonight, as Mike Bruno will have the lead into stage number 2. We'll ride along actually with Tyler Justice. We'll see what other cameras we got and go with the best one. I think this one we had just a moment ago actually is pretty good. We'll ride along with Tyler Justice as he tries to navigate through this restart here in just a moment. And we'll actually use this as a segue to a Crank It Up. So get ready for some loud sounds from here at Texas Motor Speedway. And just sit back, turn the volume up, and enjoy. ladies and gentlemen. Crank it back down now as you got a quick flyby there, and we'll wait one more time as these guys come back around the speedway. Tyler Justice has moved into the first spot once again. He is now your race leader. And Jimmy McKee, I think, is the story of the night to just kind of come out of nowhere. He's now up into the third position. He's certainly going places in that William Byron Exalta Chevrolet. And yeah, he's really, I'm just impressed. He's very impressive so far here tonight. He's done pretty well so far in previous Cup races here in the NMNTS Racing Series preseason. So great job from him in the number 8 machine tonight, doing a great job. As I said, I'm just thoroughly impressed from Jimmy McKee. Haven't really seen him outside of All-Star Sim Racing too much, so I didn't know how he would stack up against some other competition, but he's doing a great job so far. As we move further back, you got a 4-car train right here, and this is what I've really wanted to focus on. Zach Linger and Jared Wishon are a part of it, as well as Alan Westman, who we've got the camera centered on now, and Jared Beasley. So a couple of newer drivers and a couple of older drivers. Zach Linger and Jared Wishon being the most notable of the old and new drivers, respectively. You see Zach bobble out of turn 4 there, actually. He's feeling the pressure from that 96, Brendan.
It definitely, just a few laps ago, he was actually right on the bumper, Alan Westman, as he actually looks like he may get an opportunity there. Alan Westman's car a little bit unsettled in that corner. He caught right back up to him.
Yeah, so as we're watching these Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series machines roll around Texas Motor Speedway with some iRacers in them tonight. I'm really excited, looking forward to the rest of 2018 with the NMNTS Cup Series. This is something new for us to get the Cup cars on PSI TV, and I think it's going to be exciting. We've had quite a bit of Xfinity action and quite a bit of truck action as these guys are about to go 3 wide. This is incredible racing right here in this little pack. These 4 cars are just putting on a show, and they're going to start bringing in Corey Walters and Terry Mason before too long. But I really just am 100% impressed with the NMNTS crew, putting on just great racing so far in the Cup Series races that we've seen. I haven't been around for too many of them, but just a great job so far, and great job tonight. Last week at Talladega, just all around, kudos to these guys. I think these guys are really doing a great job right now, especially with the adverse track conditions and racing so close to each other, trying to get positions, and they're just doing a great job of not wrecking, I think, is the biggest thing that I'm trying to get at. Because I know a lot of guys, myself included, would probably just wad these things up as soon as they went and tried to make a pass. I know I'm just not accustomed to the Cup cars myself, so I think it's better that I'm in the booth rather than the track, pretty much, honestly. I really think that's the best way to put it as far as the Cup Series goes. I'm not quite comfortable in these cars just yet, but now we're watching a battle further back that includes David Heiza, Craig Lerman, PJ Popham, Bradley Wilson, and Jackson Allen, as Jackson Allen's going to go for a move underneath the 7-Eleven car into turns 3 and 4. Jackson Allen getting a bit gutsy here. He's going to make the pass quite easily on that tide ride and go right on by into, it looks like, the 11th position. Now he gets to try and chase down Terry Mason. We'll go on board with him for just a moment. A great run out of Jackson Allen so far tonight. You can see the Hub Sim Racing Giveaways, one of our partners and one of his partners, of course, on the hood of his car. So Jackson Allen in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Ford Fusion. Brennan, you and I have the honor of saying that he's one of our teammates, and I'll tell you what, he's just doing a great job right now.
Yeah, he's hasn't quite made it all the way up to the top yet, but he's definitely been able to hold his ground here, and it looks like right now he's got something for the guys up ahead.
And real quick, a small piece of NFL news. I just got the notification from ESPN. The Kansas City Chiefs have agreed to trade Pro Bowl QB Alex Smith to the Redskins, the Washington Redskins. So a bit of news there as we're watching this race rage on. And we go back to the 18 of Bradley Wilson right now. He's actually gotten by David Heiza and left him almost in his dust. Not quite. David's still there. So I won't say he's quite in Bradley's dust just yet. But up ahead, PJ Popham now trying to get by the 43 of Craig Lerman. And I think these battles further back are sometimes the most fun to watch because these guys they aren't racing for the front position, so they're not going to sling it into the corners too hard. But they certainly want to do better. They want to learn. They want to try and get what they can every chance they can. So I love watching these battles further back. I think it's really worth it. And right now we're seeing some great action, Brendan.
Yeah, definitely. And as a mock-up for the season to come, right now they're battling right outside what would be a stage points position right now with Terry Mason actually holding the last one. So could be something you look forward to. So actually, we're gonna have a yellow come out.
And it's just up ahead. It's the 43 of Craig Lehrman. We were just talking about him. He's going to be wadded up, spinning down the back straightaway, and you can see a bunch of damage to his good wrench machine. The number 43 with just a bunch of damage in all four corners, really, of that car. I don't think there's a straight panel left on it at this point, aside from maybe the roof. He's got quite a bit of got quite a bit of damage at this point. He really got messed up under that caution. So we'll see what happens here. I forget who he's racing. I think he was racing with PJ Popham and Bradley Wilson. Yeah. So we'll see what happens out of turn 2. We're out of turn 4 here, so we got to wait a half lap before we see exactly what happens. But the orange 43 center of your screen is the one to keep an eye on, and then of course the 18 who is coming up from behind. We'll keep an eye on Bradley here as they exit turn 2. Oh, excuse me. Just got loose out of turn 2. Craig Lehrman.
Bradley Wilson not going to be able to come through there completely unscathed. He did get tagged a little bit. Nothing too serious, though, I think.
We'll watch this one more time from Craig Lehrman's on board as he's going to get loose here out of turn number 2. And yeah, he really just gets loose and he's just trying to hang on to it, and unfortunately overcorrects a tiny bit, gets into the fence. And I did that quite a few times through practice, so it's easy to do. Kudos for him to just try and get out of the way and not collect anyone else. I think he definitely had the right interests in mind there. He's now in the pit lane getting repairs to that car. We go up to the front and look at the race out of pit lane, and actually I don't think Bradley pitted
Wilson.
at all. He obviously must have stayed out.
No, he took 2 tires, yeah. He's going to be the leader.
Well, I'll tell you what, that guy has some intuition, because I never would have done that. We'll see how this works out for him in the number 18. Personally, watch for the 18 to be really, really loose, almost uncontrollably loose on this restart. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for Bradley Wilson, but you do see he is your leader. You can see that on the bottom of your screen now. I don't know about this one, Brennan.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely a track where you're already battling being a little bit loose. I don't think that was quite the decision I would make in that chance, but in that scenario there. But maybe he thinks he can handle it, so we'll see what he can do with it.
I'll tell you what, the best way to get the inside scoop on his plan is to bring him up and talk to him. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bring Bradley up. Bradley Wilson, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Brad, we were just talking about your interesting move, I'll put it that way, to go ahead and it looks like take 2 tires on that pit stop. What's going on there?
Oh man, preseason, you gotta get intel somewhere, and we've been fighting loose pretty much the whole race, as well as everybody else, it looked like. So we took 2 lefts to try to tighten it up a little and just see what it'll do.
All right, well, hopefully it works out in your favor, at least hopefully for your cause anyway. I'll tell you what, I was just telling Brendan, I certainly would never have done that, not in a million years, but, best of luck to you. At this point, all I can do is get you some info, just like some of my restarts in that truck race at Talladega. So at this point, hopefully it works out the best for you. Is there anyone you want to give a quick shout-out to before this restart?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank Oil Can Hancock for being on the hood of this thing, Discount Shop Towels, and my beautiful wife at BA Graphics.
Sounds great, man. Well, after that bit of a spill earlier, hopefully you can find a way to stay up in the front this time, and we'll be watching for that number 18 on this restart.
I sure appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
And as we move him back down to his team channel, Brendan, I'm not so sure about this move. We'll see how it works out for him. Obviously, he's the one in the car for a reason. I'm not so sure about this one. We'll see what happens. Obviously, he is up in the front of the field, so if something bad happens,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard for anyone to miss it. But, you know,
Quick note here, real quick.
if I was going to put faith in anybody to do it, it'd be him. What's up?
Before we get to the green here, a quick note. I do believe Tyler Justice got tagged with a speeding penalty. He's going to start from the back of the outside line here. So he's not up in the front back anymore.
Well, as we come out of turn 4, Bradley Wilson already on the loud pedal. You see that 18 just completely pulling away from the rest of the inside line and even getting a nose out ahead of the 19. We want to switch back to the TV camera as quickly as we can, and we're going to see how this works out for Bradley Wilson. Already, I think, tight, and I think that's going to be the story of this run for him. You see, he has no corner speed. I think that's how this whole run's going to go for that number 18.
Yeah, we'll give him maybe a lap or two to see if he can settle in and find something here, but I think I'm going to have to agree with you. Actually, it looks like Vince is going to back out of it. They almost went 3 wide. They are going to go 3 wide.
Oh, he's in the wall, and they're wrecking. Corey Walters to the inside. He's back down the track, and it's just melee behind him. Terry Mason, Joseph Andujar, Ryan Daniels, and more. Just absolute carnage in the back.
Terry Mason came in there like a raging bull. He was not back down at all when he hit the 18 there.
Well, I think at that point it was too hard to see exactly what was happening up ahead. We're going to go back and watch this one. You're going to see the 18 just, he has no corner speed, just pushes straight up into the fence, and you can see what happens from there. Wow.
Tyler Justice is going to get some damage in that as well.
That's a massive accident. We saw the 13 go completely airborne. That was Joseph Andujar the third. He went completely, absolutely 100% airborne. We're going to go to his onboard here and just, ladies and gentlemen, just watch. I'll tell you what, thankfully that's a simulator, or that would have been one extremely scary ride for a driver to actually take. We're going to go on board this time actually with Terry Mason and see what he sees. If I can find him. There he is. Going to see what he sees here. Obviously, everything's happening so quickly, he may have just not seen what was going on. We'll go slow-mo here, and may not be the greatest representation, actually. It wasn't enough time to really see what happens. So we're going to go a whole lap back, and you're just going to watch this whole restart from Terry Mason's perspective. I think it's just hard for him to see what's going to happen ahead of him. Obviously, he was right behind the 13 of Joseph Andujar when it happened, and that's his team owner slash teammate, of course, from Riot Racing. I think Terry just didn't have enough time to react. So as we watch the slow-mo here, obviously consider this is 4 seconds for us for every 1 second that they would have actually had. You see the 18 just comes straight back down the track, and there's nowhere for Terry to go. Wow. And you can see Ryan Daniels with nowhere to go either. You see him plow into the back of the 18 car. Corey Walters, obviously, as well, took a ton of damage on that wreck. Excuse me, just a bunch of just crashed race cars after that one. And, you know, you can't blame Bradley too much. Like he said, you got to try and find something if you're going to want to be fast in the 2018 NMNTS BA Graphics Cup season. And he was just trying to find something. I think the guys behind him maybe could have given him a bit more room. They almost took him 3 wide there, and I think he was trying to adjust for that. Then they ended up 3 wide, and I think he was just trying to adjust for that. I think he was trying to stay out of the way, and there was just nowhere for him to do that. We'll go on board real quick with Tyler Justice before going back to the live feed. And we'll see exactly how hard he's going to end up hitting. I believe it was the 18. Oh, no, the 75. He hit the 75 and then the 18, so no time for him to check up either. You see some damage to his number 7 in the front.
Yeah, nothing serious. Luckily, it looked like he kind of phased through the 18 there. With sometimes the iRacing netcode issues can they can bite you or they can help you out there. And I think he got a good break there because that would have been a lot more damage than he took.
Christina Ann saying she really enjoys the broadcast and really appreciate that. And I know Brendan does as well. And we will be getting on to YouTube as well as Facebook very, very soon. Usually Facebook just has such a better outing that we opt to go with it. Tonight, though, only 12 or so of you guys, but we'll take it. Anyone that we can get, we'll take. So I don't want to complain too much. Obviously, a stark difference from last week's Cup race with the NMNTS Racing Series, but that's sometimes to be expected. As these guys get ready to go back green, we're going to line up a couple of interviews with guys that just got wadded up in that mess out of Turn 4. But first, though, we've actually got this restart out of Turn 4. We'll go back to the restart cam sitting just behind the start-finish line. You see these guys restarting already. The Evil Outlaw front row just gets going, and no one else does behind them. You see the 85 of Zach Lindgren falls way back on this restart.
Yeah, being teammates up there, I'm pretty sure they had a chance to communicate when they were wanting to go. So, unfortunately, Zach not being in that team.
You see these guys just dicing. Sorry to interrupt you, Brendan, but just these guys making moves in the further back half the top 10, really. Jackson Allen, he made the move to get around the 8, and now he's fallen back into the clutches of the 96 and the 1. Just how quickly everything changes around in a matter of corners, or a matter of a short shoot sometimes at Texas Motor Speedway is incredible. I love this place for that, especially on the restarts. They're just so out there, so wild. I really do have a special place for this track, and I love the racing it puts on. So we're going to see exactly who we can bring up. I know Bradley sent me a message saying that didn't work.
Yeah, he sent a message requesting an interview here, so I think we can bring him up if you'd like.
Yeah, we're going to bring him up in a moment. I think he's got his bearings most out of place than anyone else. So we'll bring up Terry Mason first. As these guys battle on, we're going to bring Terry up and get an interview from his point of view. I know he ended up in an incident last night, unfortunately, so a couple of nights and a couple of incidents for him. Probably won't be the greatest, but we'll bring him up and talk to him. Terry Mason, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy? I think he took a break, as he actually does. I should have figured that. So we'll give Terry some more time there. Oh! Contact between the 8 and the 89 there through turn 3 and 4. I'm glad I left the camera where it was, because we saw a little bit of contact there from the 8 in the 89. I think Jimmy McKee just pushed up a little bit. I don't think it was anything malicious or what have you. I think it was just an accident. The 8 kind of slid up. This is obviously a very hard track for these guys to run here tonight. Oh! Yeah. Jackson Allen spinning!
Able to get her down on the apron. Looks like take a little bit of damage, but he's kept her going. We're going to stay green here.
A very good catch from the Daniels Cardinale Incorporated driver there. And unfortunately, I think he's going to go find his teammate, Ryan Daniels there. Yep, Ryan goes right on by there. Good to see Ryan still in this race, actually, though. I'm glad he's still continuing on, given the damage he picked up from that previous incident. Obviously, it couldn't have been much as he continues on and has a pretty clean car, actually. I don't think he got any damage from it, so he lucked out there in the number 52. I can only imagine the colorful commentary he would have had for us. But thankfully, he continues on. We're going to go back up front a little bit, though, because there was some good battling up there between the 8 and the 89, and actually Jimmy McKee has fallen victim to Spence Thompson's wrath. The Spence Thompson has gone right on by that Exalta Chevrolet for the 4th position. And now Zach Lindgren going to make a move, actually, in the number 85. He's trying to find a way around Jared Beasley. That would be for the 2nd position. Tell you what, Zach Lindgren has just been on fire this offseason. He really has. Completely unprecedented to see him just come out and dominate almost anything he climbs into. I believe he's got about 4 or 5 wins this offseason alone.
It definitely, he's really put on a great show. I don't think it really matters, like you said, what he gets into. He's had it figured out recently.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by it. Just after last season, he and I pretty much mirrored each other for the first part of the season. Then he just, over the summer, pretty much caught on like wildfire, and now you see the results of that. Just the experience, I think, for that number 85 WFO Motorsports driver, currently in the third position, just ahead of Season 1 NMNTS Truck Series champion, Spence Thompson. So obviously, if he's in the company of champions and beating them, he's doing something right, just as well as Jared Beasley and Mike Bruno. Actually, I got to call attention to Jared Beasley as well. I mean, just had really no huge successes last year. He had a couple of wins, just like Zach, and just this offseason, he has been on fire, just the same as Zach has. Caution's out now, though.
Possibly
Not sure
Craig
where
Learman
it
again?
was.
It looks like he has some more damage from earlier.
Well, he's still with the field, so I don't think it was him.
Oh. Okay. I did see him drop back a little bit, I thought, maybe.
Although Terry Mason has climbed back in the car, he is heading back onto the track, so we won't get a chance to speak with him, unfortunately. I'm not sure where that caution was.
Or was that the stage?
That was the stage break, I think.
Okay. We did that again.
Yeah, just the lack of communication for us before the race. Unfortunately, this is a bit rushed for us, so that's just our fault. Yeah, that's the second stage break. So that bit of a run to the end of the second stage will result in Mike Bruno being your Stage 2 winner here tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. We'll take a look at your top 10 here from stage number 2 as these guys head down the pit lane. Mike Bruno in first, Jared Beasley second, Zach Lindgren third, Spence Thompson held on to fourth place, Jimmy McKee in fifth, and Tyler Justice, despite having some pretty good front end damage, got his way up into sixth position. Jared Wishon in seventh, PJ Popham in eighth, Kenneth Yantz in ninth, and you see the results now changing, but he was in ninth with David Heiza in 10th. And we'll get that out of the way.
Yeah, I don't think we
see
show
the pit stops here.
I don't think we're showing the same amount of damage equally between you and I for Tyler. For me, it's very, very minimal. Just the hood just barely crinkled up now. So.
Well, you got to consider though, when you get that kind of contact in the front of one of these cars, considering they're quite fragile at a place like this, they don't have this the short track bumper. Zach Lindgren wins the race off pit road. I believe he'll take the race lead with that move. But Tyler Justice probably has quite a bit of radiator damage, just damage in the engine bay in general. And that's going to impact him later on. This is a somewhat hot race, so we could see possible overheating issues in that number 7 tonight. But real quick, let's catch up with Mike Bruno. Brennan, I'm going to bring him up. I got to get a drink of water, and I'll let you conduct this one.
Alrighty, Mike, this is Brennan up here in the PSI TV booth. You got a copy with us?
Yeah, 10-4, bud. I got you, man.
Alrighty, so we came away with the lead there in the Stage 2, so that's going to put you as our Stage 2 winner tonight. How's the car feeling for you?
It's not too bad. It's pretty loose after about 7-8 laps. Not uncontrollably, but if you're not careful, especially on the tri-oval, quad-oval, whatever you want to call it, it'll really step out from under you. But other than that, it's not too bad. Just got to kind of wheel it and try and keep it up front and see what we can do here.
Yeah, definitely the story from everyone tonight has been how loose the cars seem to feel. But so far we've seen you a lot of this race. You've been in top 3, so you definitely got something figured out there. You think you got anything for Zach ahead of you and Tyler right behind you now?
Oh man, Tyler, he's usually the class of the field, no exception for tonight. Try and keep him behind me, and Zach has been no slouch, man. He's definitely been quick tonight also. So gonna do my best, try and run it out here and just see how it goes.
Alrighty, well I think we'll get you moved back down here as we're getting ready to go double file again.
Thanks, bud.
Great job out of the 19 so far tonight. We'll move him back down into his channel. He's currently running in the second spot. He was actually, of course, leading at the end of the stage, leading into the pits, but Zach actually beat him out of the pit lane. Zach Lindgren, one of our own, doing pretty good, at least in the pit lane so far tonight. He'll get out ahead of the 19, the 7, the 15, and everyone else. He'll take the lead here. And Brendan, do you think he can hang on to it?
I'd like to say so, although, I mean, you look at that run the 7 just had, that last little bit of green flag run there. He went basically from the back of the field all the way up to third. I think he may hold on to it for a few laps. I think Tyler's going to get past him here before too long.
Well, I'll tell you what, I just noticed one of the new guys here that I didn't know how he was going to do, even more so than Jimmy McKee. I knew Jimmy McKee would probably be pretty decent, and obviously he's been one of the front runners. However, Jared Washon really impressing me here tonight. The number 96 NASCAR Die Fans group, or Die Fans, yes, Diecast Fans group. I'm sorry, I just butchered that entirely. I was just thinking too fast. But the 96, Jared Washon, doing a great job tonight. We're going to go on board with him on this restart. Here's a look at his car as they come out of turn 4. We'll go on board here. And, yeah, just take a look as he tries to navigate through this restart. He's restarting in 5th, right behind guys like Tyler Justice and Zach Lindgren, the greats of the NMNTS Racing Series. Green flag in the air. Zach Lindgren's off. And a bit of a lame restart from the 96, but I'm sure he'll get right back into it. I think it was just a matter of not being able to see when the leader, Zach Lindgren, went. But he's still in the 5th spot, just trying to get going here. And actually, here he is really not in the gas much on that restart.
Yeah, sometimes you have the difficulty of knowing how far you can push again after you go for a decent green flag run like that with the older tires, and sometimes it takes a lap or two to readjust to the new tires again.
Yes, as we continue to watch this 96 closely, we are going to shortly prepare for good old Bradley Wilson up here in the interview booth in just a few. I really wanted to call attention to this kid. I know he's trying really, really hard to impress these guys here in the NMNTS Racing Series, and I think he's doing a great job. I had to get this guy out there just a little bit. He's really trying everything he can to impress everyone here, and he's doing a great job so far. Jared Washon in the Plan B Sales and NASCAR Diecast Fans group, Ford Fusion right there, and he's a lone wolf. I don't know why nobody picked this kid up. I think he's going to be a great addition to any team as the season goes on, so hopefully he can find somewhere to run. I tried hashing out a deal with him in some shape or form. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but he's just doing great right now in the number 96.
And up ahead in the back 3 and 4 corners, Tyler Justice, Mike Bruno, and Jared Beasley have all gotten around Zach Lindgren. He's struggling here a little bit.
Yeah, so as Tyler Justice takes the lead back, we're going to finally bring Bradley up. I'm not sure if he's listening to the broadcast or not, but we'll give him just a moment. Bradley Wilson, do you have a copy?
Yeah, we got you.
I think there's a reason that in a million years I never would have pulled that move, but, I mean, it was worth it. I'll tell you what, it was worth it. Just like I said, just like those restarts at Talladega that I tried, it was worth it just so you know what not to do, I think. Unfortunately, we saw how it ended, and actually, a couple of MRT mates almost getting together out of turn 2 there, but, just tell us how it felt on those 2 tires. I think we can kind of imagine, considering you kind of put it straight in the fence. But give us your side of that whole restart.
Yeah, it was a dumb move that took out a lot of good cars, so I'm first and foremost apologize to everybody that got caught up in that. It was one of them things that you don't normally try, and in a regular season race I wouldn't have tried, but then we're just trying to gather some intel, and I'd say we got it. So ended the night short on us, but got loose on the travel there and collected Spence, and then we were kind of marred back in traffic and thought we were gonna have to do something, so but that wasn't it, evidently.
Yeah, so actually that brings me into my next point that I wanted to ask you about. What happened there earlier on in the race there with Spence? It looked like at first maybe a miscommunication between you guys, but now you're saying you got loose and got into him?
Yeah, man, it just got loose at the end of the travel. I don't think I've ever had that happen to me. We wasn't doing anything, hadn't changed the line, or wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary, and it just it got loose, and when I went to correct it, I got Spence chasing it down the track.
Well, certainly unfortunate. That 18 looked really, really good in the early runnings here at Texas, but Thankfully, you were able to catch it the first time. Unfortunately, that second time, you just couldn't keep it from coming back down into a couple of cars there. We know you collected Corey Walters and some others, most notably Joseph Andujar, who literally went flying through the infield. And actually, I just want to mention, in practice, he asked the WFO chat for any tips on tonight, and I had actually just gotten in a wreck with Mike Bruno that sent me flying through the infield. My one piece of advice for him was don't go flying through the infield. Well, darn.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's a bad deal, and I hate it for all the guys I collected. I can't say sorry enough. But we'll put her in the trailer and head back and look forward to Daytona next week.
10-4. Well, you're certainly welcome to join us up here for the rest of the race if you want. I'll let you decide that on your own. Obviously, you have the powers to move around in TeamSpeak as you please, so I'll let you decide. But at least for the moment, we'll move you back down. Welcome to come back up if you'd like.
Alright, yeah, I've got admin there. So my admin's got the flu. So shout out to Robbie Buckner. I hope you get to feeling better, brother.
Sounds great, man. Well, best of luck to you as we move forward into the season. I know the way it's looking, I might get to race with you in the Truck Series Icebreaker, and that'll be a lot of fun as long as it comes to fruition. Not sure about the rest of the season, but best of luck to you either way.
Alright, I sure appreciate it, man.
Sounds great, man. Have a good night. And yeah, that was Bradley Wilson out of the number 18. We went to kind of the scenic cam there for just a little bit while I had his name up on the bottom of the screen. Otherwise, it wouldn't have shown him. But towards the front, actually, caution is going to be coming out. Jared Wishon and Jared Beasley tangling in the back. Oh, I was just before Bradley's interview there, I was praising the 96 for doing so well, and I think he just got collected in something that he had no voice in, really. I think that was based on how it looked. It looked like it was something he wasn't involved in initially.
Beasley just got really loose coming off the corner, it looked like there, and he just had to make a split decision move to go high or low there, I think, and unfortunately got tagged, or he tagged Beasley, which got him caught up in that.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of damage to Wishon's front end. I don't know if he's going to be able to really continue on with any kind of speed after that one. He took a really big hit to the front end when he tried to miss the 15. He did everything he could out of turn 2 there to miss that 15. And yeah, just you can watch it here from his on board. This is Jared Wishon, who is running in the 5th position.
Notably, another thing, while we were talking with Bradley there, Zach Lindgren was able to get himself back up to 2nd position there. I think he had something figured out there right before the caution came out.
You can see just the massive impact there to the right side of the 15. I don't think that's going to hurt Jared too bad. Obviously, there will be some aerodynamic downsides to that contact, of course. I mean, he just took a huge hit to the right side of the car. But I don't think, you know, when you think about who won and who lost out of that situation, I think it's going to be a win for Jared Beasley if you have to give it to him, and then a loss for Jared Wishon. Jared Beasley, he's going to walk away in the best case out of that between the two Jareds. It's still not a good case by any means. And obviously, you know, no fault of his own, just got loose out of the corner, was trying to save it, overcorrected it. Not the first time we've seen that tonight. So obviously it's an issue throughout the field, not like it's any one person, not like it's his bad necessarily. Yeah, it's just a product of these cars on this track when it's a bit warm outside, and that's what happens sometimes. So I actually want to move back through the field a little bit. I want to see if we can catch up with the driver, if he's still running. And he is, but he's in the pits, I believe. No, he's not running. What am I talking about? He is not there. So we'll get him under green, I think. And I'll leave that a mystery to everyone watching. But I'll bring him up once we get going back green. I think we'll let these guys pace around for this caution. As we can see, a couple of guys up ahead. That's going to be like the 75 and 27, and I think someone else, possibly the 77, I think. Yeah, the 77, Kenny Yance, will be taking the wave around on this caution, and I think they'll get that wave around next time around. Tyler Justice is your leader. Brendan, who do you have for the last 25 laps or so of this race?
who I think's actually going to win, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to probably say Tyler Justice. I think he's just got the car to beat right now. Who I'd like to see, though, on the other hand, and fellow driver we're aligned with would be Zach Lindgren. Obviously, he's kept it in this later stages here in the top 3 down to the top 5, but I think he's got a good handle on the race car, and I think maybe if something comes up with Tyler, he may have a chance of winning it.
Well, I'm going to switch to the camera to my pick real quick, and that's going to be James McKee. I think in that number 8 car, Jimmy's got a pretty good chance of getting up there and playing spoiler in this race. Obviously, you know, kind of unexpected to see him in this league, at least for me. I didn't expect him to come over and start racing over here, but he is, and he's doing a great job so far in that number 8 machine, and we'll see if he can actually get up there and do battle with these guys. I think he's got a pretty good chance, just as good a chance as anyone else, to play spoiler in this situation among the top 3. I think those 3 have got to be some of the favorites going into the season in any regard. I got to add Spence Thompson, Bradley Wilson, and some others to that list, of course, but Jimmy McKee coming into this series and just kind of trying to play spoiler right now. He could be one of the favorites as we move forward.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see later into the season what he can do with the cars. See if he's one of those where he can be consistent top 5s or anything like that. He definitely have a great chance at the championship.
Yeah, I mean, as good a chance as anyone, right? So we'll see what he can do, and as we get ready for this restart here from Texas Motor Speedway, again, about 25 laps to go here, and gotta wish each of these drivers the best. Jimmy McKee actually, I think, had a moment there. I think he fell back a little bit, but as we wait for the restart out of turn number 4, Tyler Justice leading the field with Mike Bruno to his outside. Those guys in communication, and you see it almost worked there, but Zach Lindgren actually had a pretty decent restart in terms of battling a couple of guys that actually have communication, whereas you don't. Zach Lindgren's going to hang right with these guys, and I think that's one of the best restarts from the second row that we've seen all night.
Yeah, there's another good one that Bradley had a little bit earlier, but definitely good start there. He's actually even going into 3 now. He's catching back up on Bruno at the moment, so.
And doing battle for the lead, a couple of teammates. We'll see if they actually battle here. We know they've been kind of sedentary around each other so far tonight, but only 25 laps left, Brendan. You have to imagine they're going to start doing battle here. It's go time.
It definitely, a win's a win, even if it comes from taking it from another teammate. It'd be cool to see Bruno. As we saw Justice last year, he had a lot of wins there, but Mike Bruno also a really good driver when it comes to the trucks and it looks like through the cup cars as well.
Well, real quick, I want to bring a driver in for an interview that we rarely get to talk to here on PSI TV, and that's going to be David Levine. So, David Levine, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, David, we haven't really seen much, if any of you, so far in our time on PSI TV, but it's good to have you around here tonight. Unfortunately, I noticed that you aren't in the race anymore, so that's why I got you while these guys are going green flag. What happened to that number 59?
Bit of a driver error. I'm not really too comfortable in these cup cars, and figured it'd be better to pull her down and put her in a pit lane before junking the field. It wasn't, being an off-season race, it's not really too important to me, and I'd rather just sit around and have fun and ruin people's nights.
Real quick, want to call attention before we get back to your interview there, David. I want to call attention to a huge incident that we just had down the back straightaway. While David was talking there, just the 17, 711, and 43 all got together, and really just a massive wreck down the back straightaway. We'll see it one more time here. 711 gets loose, ends up collecting the 28 actually as well, and the 17 and the 43 trying to miss it end up getting involved. Alan Westman, Craig Lerman, David Heise, I think, will be the worst off out of that situation. We'll show it one more time, and David, yeah, we were watching you early. You had some troubles, and unfortunately, in that 59, you found it more worthwhile for the rest of the field to pull it off. I think that's a noble cause, I suppose, and hopefully we see more of you this season. What are your plans in the NMNTS Racing Series in 2018?
Plans right now, I'm going to run definitely Monday nights. That SimSpec prize is definitely something worth going after, but I'm not really sure about Sundays or Tuesdays quite yet, but we'll see what happens.
Sounds great. Well, Brennan, I'll let you have a crack at David if you'd like before we let him go. Nice to have you on the broadcast, whether you made it very far or not. First time we've had you, and obviously you're one of the favorites normally when you run, so it's been weird not having you around.
Oh, I don't have anything off the top of my head. I guess we'll give you a chance if you want to shout out any sponsors, anything of that sort, or.
Yeah, always gotta say big thanks to everybody at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Carolinas and Revan Optics for everything they do that help get this 59 car out on track when I actually decide to run. And then big shout out to you guys at PSI for doing everything, utmost respect and top level professionalism and everything that you guys do.
Well, thank you very much, man. We'll let you get back down there with the WFO guys for the rest of the night. Maybe spotting for somebody. Certainly an option when you pull it off. So. We'll let you get back down there, and hopefully we see you more Monday nights.
Yeah, appreciate it. See you guys around.
Again, that was David Levine from David Levine Racing, partnered with, I believe, WFO going into the 28th season, but I won't say too much that I don't know exactly about. Under this caution, though, PJ Popham going to take advantage of some pit strategy, and I'm not sure if he even came in. Because
I don't believe so.
He's just ahead of everyone. I don't know if he's come in at all. Yeah, he's got one less pit stop than Mike Bruno. So, as I believe Mike Bruno has come in at every chance so far tonight, the number one car, PJ Popham, has not come in as many times as Bruno. So I think the number one car playing some strategy here to get up to the front, and I like the call.
Yeah, definitely. For the spot he was at, you definitely kind of have to figure out something here. You got 20 laps coming up here. I don't think he would have had the opportunity to make up that amount of ground that he did. So, what better way than to start the pull and see if you can hold off with it?
Yeah, we'll see what he can do in the Speed Vegas machine, and we're actually doubling up already. But we're going to bring up a quick race summary as these guys pace around one more time. Laps complete so far tonight, 105. We actually rounded lap 100 on that previous restart, I believe. And lead changes so far 7. We've had 6 cautions for a total of 23 laps when we come back around a complete lap 106 on the night. So Brendan, not too bad for pretty adverse conditions. Obviously would have liked to see more green flag racing, but you got to keep in mind 2 of those 6 cautions were for stage breaks, so only 4 wrecks here tonight. Not too bad, everything considered.
Yeah, there's just been a few parts where we had a little bit of a decent green flag stint, especially towards the beginning here. Kind of through the middle of it's where we started to run into issues, but I think just that's the way this track is. It's just so loose on these cars that people, as they start to wear out, they're starting to struggle with handling them. And I think we'll see that a little bit later. Maybe another one. I hope not. I'd knock on wood as we get ready to go green here. Peach Pop is going to pull right away. Not a great start there for Tyler, but he's starting to make it back up already. And Bruno on the outside. I think that's just the fresh tires they're working.
On the contrary, a great start for Tyler Justice. We see him nosing ahead of PJ Popham through turns 1 and 2, and he's going to have the top line, going to give him momentum out of 2. Actually, yeah, big bobble there from Bruno. He's going to save it. We see the same thing from teammate Jason Alexander further back, but he'll hang on to it as well. A couple of great saves from the Evil Motorsports aligned drivers, but Tyler Justice gonna walk away with this restart so far. But here comes that 8 car. Here comes Jimmy McKee into the picture, and tell you what, he's my pick for a reason. I think he's gonna have a chance to get up there and play spoiler as long as he keeps those fenders clean. Obviously, the 7 still has a bit of front end damage that could play into effect. That could slow Tyler down a little bit.
And here comes Zach Lindgren now getting ready to pass PJ Popham on the inside. Looks like they're going to get side by side coming through the tri-oval here. Not quite. He's going to pull away a little bit, but I think he'll have him coming in here in the corner.
And you know who else is coming into the picture, Brennan? And that's I just said Jason Alexander. Jackson Allen. Sorry, jeez. Jackson Allen in the number 4 car from DCI. Just kind of out of the blue. Didn't even expect him to run tonight, and I help run the team. Anyway, Jackson Allen in the, I believe that's a Back the Blue themed car there. very nice paint scheme, honestly, especially for Texas Motor Speedway. Right now in the 6th spot, trying to get around the 19 of Mike Bruno. Hasn't found a way around just yet. PJ Popham, Zach Lindgren doing battle for the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, Tyler Justice, well, he's being Tyler Justice, and he's trying to walk away from this field.
It definitely, I think he's just gonna do him. I don't know quite how he does it, and if he's really like pushing on the tires there or what, or how he manages to work it out. But we'll see. Possibly if he cooks the tires a little bit too much, and Jimmy McKee or Zach Lindgren will have a chance to run him back down.
Well, I think that's exactly why I have faith in that number 8 car. I think he'll have a chance to get up there and possibly have a crack at him. I mean, it's gonna be tough. You know, obviously it's tough anytime to go up there and beat that 7 car of Tyler Justice or even the 19 of Mike Bruno. Those guys are both pretty much the class of the field in the NMNTS Racing Series. Obviously add a couple of other guys, but those two most namely. And I think the reason I have faith in that 8 car is the long run speed. We see some damage to the 7 car, and we haven't really seen a long run in quite a while. The track has undergone some changes, but as I'm saying this on the short run here, Zach Lindgren pretty much muscling right up to that 8 car, and I think he might have ideas of going by it here in the near future.
Yeah, he's really worked down the time. Probably still pulling away from these two, but Zach really working on McKee now. Get it within just about nose to tail that are going into one. Like on the exit, keep about the same distance.
Yeah, these guys are on each other right now. Zach Lindgren finding any possible extra bit of speed in that number 85 Camry right now with interstate batteries on the fenders, the hoods, the roof, the undercarriage, probably the window net somewhere. Got interstate batteries all over that thing. Maybe not my favorite paint scheme considering it's Kyle Busch, but anywho, excuse me. Well, I shouldn't say Kyle Busch. I should refrain. It is a JGR, though. JGR paint scheme, however. And anyways, I mean, he's finding any speed he can right now in that number 85, trying to get up there with the number 8 and do battle.
The 8 of McKee's having a little bit of issues on corner exit here, getting loose. I don't know if you've noticed the last couple of laps. Doesn't do it there now that I mentioned it.
And actually, I saw a bobble from the 85, so it could be just the opposite. Now, as you know, the track and the tires are going to start changing. They're going to start swinging different ways, and I think that's why I still have faith in the 8, but he's not showing too much speed at the moment. And I just want to clarify my comment on the JGR. Oh my gosh! Whew. Did you just see the 1 car?
Did not.
That just made everything tingle. We're going to show this replay. Just, wow.
Holy, way to hold on to it. Wow.
Wow. I had to catch myself before I said something else, but jeez. We'll watch this one more time from PJ Popham from the blimp. From the Goodyear blimp. Just, oh my. I mean, that was raw talent. Whether you like the guy or not, whether you want to admit it or not, that was raw talent saving that car. Just plain and simply, that was a save and a half. Back up to the front. 9 laps to go now. What am I talking about? The 8 car is still trying to stay ahead of that 85, and I want to clarify something when I mentioned I'm not too big a fan of JGR. Well, I love Eric Jones. However, we keep that one in the closet simply because if you're a Dale Jr. fan, you know why you might have feelings towards Kyle Busch that aren't the greatest. But I don't want to get too into that. I'm just trying to be a bit more laid back. This is a preseason race. This is pretty much our last chance for that, Brennan. So, yeah, just...
The 8 car really slow there. He loose on entry that time around.
Anyways, just taking advantage of our last chance to be laid back. You do mention the 8 car getting loose. He definitely did. The 85 is actually starting to fall back, but what I'm noticing for the 8 car is he's starting to close in on the 7.
Big time loose on exit there again. They're fighting it right now, trying to get whatever they can.
Zach Lindgren down to the inside, the number 85 trying to work that bottom side, Brennan. And wow, he had to pitch it off into turns 1 and 2 there. He almost comes up on the left front of the 8. These guys, oh man, insanity. But what they're doing right now is they're slowing themselves down, and they won't be able to catch the 7.
You'll have to get squared away who wants to be second and who wants to be third here. It looks like the 8's going to get passed by the 85 finally, coming through 4, and he does. Now it's Zach Lindgren's chance to see if he can run down Tyler Justice.
Yeah, I think Jimmy got at least that they can't be battling there for very long. They're going to have zero chance to try and go catch the 7. Now you see Zach Lindgren bobbling, and this isn't how you go catch somebody. It's mind-boggling to me right now. These guys, they had Tyler Justice within sights, literally within a second, and they're battling like this. This is just insane.
Zach Lindgren going to hold off the attempt there from the 8. See if maybe he can get a good 1-2 this time and go after Tyler again.
We go on board now with Jimmy McKee with 5 laps to go. The laps have winded down about as far as they can go without ending the race. We're in the final stages of this one, and Brennan, wow, this is some great racing all around. I'm not sure what the intentions here are with the 8 and the 85 other than beating each other, obviously, but just some, great driving, but also on edge, and they're slowing themselves down. You got to go catch that 7 car when you have the chance, and they had the chance and they wasted it.
Yeah, I think they're both having tire issues, and it looks like they may have worn them out just a little bit too much too soon here.
Zach Lindgren almost pushes into the fence. Jimmy McKee a little loose still, and you see Spence Thompson, Mike Bruno now climb their ways back up into this battle for second position possibly. But this is going to let Zach Lindgren walk away, so I don't think they'll get second, but they'll certainly have a chance at third. They will have a crack at Jimmy McKee and each other, and Spence Thompson has to sit back right now and just wait. He has to wait for his chance to pounce. He can't get too close just yet, or he'll lose all front end downforce, not be able to turn. So he's got to wait for the 8 and the 19 to sort out, and now is when he can try and pounce and see if he can get by the 8 car for 4th, maybe the 19 for 3rd, but I don't see any of these guys having any kind of chance of catching Tyler Justice now. In my opinion, they almost just gave away their chance to go catch him.
The timing showed Zach did make just under a 10th up, but it's going to be a little bit too soon, too late, unless he can really work down on about another 1.5 seconds here.
Yeah, far too little, far too late now. Lap and a half left, and Zach Lindgren's still within the clutches of Mike Bruno. There's no way anyone's going to touch the 7 without a major issue. Mike Bruno, though, in a great spot to maybe take advantage of Zach Lindgren, possibly make it a sim spec and Evil Outlaw Motorsports number 1-2. Sorry, possibly get second place from Zach. It's going to be close. We're going to watch as Tyler crosses the line in a moment. Tyler Justice powering away with the lead, and he only has to make it around. Big bobble there, but he only has to make it around 2 more corners. He can almost coast from here and still win this race. Meanwhile, Zach Lindgren having to deal with the 19. They were side by side for a moment. You see the 19 has had to back off. He will have to give the spot up to Zach Lindgren. They're going to come home in a single file manner. Meanwhile, Tyler Justice crosses the line for first place.
Battle, I think, than you saw there.
Oh,
85 super loose at the line, and I think he held 19 off. They were side by side at the line.
Yeah, I just clicked back over to the 7 car, and then you called it out. Yeah, something happened with the 85. We're going to get a quick replay on this so we can go back and check the results here. You see the battle between the 8 and the 19. A big block thrown there by the 19, and Jimmy McKee probably didn't appreciate that, but continuing, just got to watch here. I don't know what happened. But yeah, Zach just gets loose, and wow, a great job of saving that car. Even if it was after the checkered flag, that was just a great job of hanging on to that number 85.
Was able to hold off Bruno there by 0.02 of a second, so that was a close one.
Just a heck of a job once again, saving that number 85. Great job by Zach Lindgren. Great piece of driving in that number 85 WFO machine. And but Tyler Justice will be your winner tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. He sure is doing burnouts. That's 2 wins in a week for Tyler Justice. Last night was Zach Lindgren. So I think there's a common theme lately between the top 2 from tonight's race. They were 1-2 last night, just in the opposite order. And of course, Zach was helping us in the booth, or he could have possibly been up there Sunday night as well. So there's a common theme going on here, Brennan.
Yeah, definitely. You got a good group of drivers as we get ready to close up on preseason here, so I definitely think these are going to be two that you really need to look out for come the race season and just about everything.
And as Tyler gets his burnouts out of his system, he's a hyper guy. He'll need a lot. We'll just let him do his thing there. We're going to bring in third place finishing Mike T. Bruno.
He's doing burnouts
Mike
as well.
Bruno, do you have a copy?
10-4, I got you, boys.
Well, as you do a burnout with your teammate there after a stellar 1-3 finish, almost made it 1-2, having a battle there with Zach Lindgren and Jimmy McKee. A great job from you and the number 19 here tonight. I thought you guys were going to have almost a wreck down there out of turn 2 the last lap. That was a great piece of driving, that whole last run by everyone involved. How'd you do it? How'd you get it back up into third?
It was amazing. Everybody involved, Zach, James, I'm not too familiar with him. He did an awesome job. Spence, God, Tyler was up there, but he was kind of in his own realm. But man, that was a lot of fun. I haven't had that much fun in a while, and we really needed that, you know. And I just drove as hard as I could, man. And she was really free this last run for some reason, more free than she's been all race. But was able to hang on to her, and it looked like Zach and James were kind of battling the same thing, and Spence was coming hard from the back there, so kind of had to keep an eye on the mirror and in front of me the whole time. But that battle with Zach there at the end was a blast, and that's why we do this, man. That was a lot of fun.
He certainly did a great job from that 19 to battle back from kind of getting set back on that restart, and not quite with Zach and Jimmy and Tyler, but you battled back and got third place. Just a heck of a final drive there from that 19. Who makes it happen for you?
I appreciate that, bud. I got to thank my sponsors as always, SimSpec. They are awesome. Ken Younts, John Bear, and all them guys. Thank you, Andrew, Brennan, for what you guys do. You guys do a great job. And congrats to Tyler on the win. And thanks to all my teammates over at Evil Gunslingers, MR Motorsports, all you guys, man. Great job tonight by everybody. And thanks again for what you guys do, Andrew.
Sounds great, man. We'll let you get back down there with your team, celebrate the third place and Tyler's win. Best of luck to you in the future, and have a good night.
Thanks, bud. You too.
And that was Mike Bruno from the 19 on Evil Outlaws, and Gunslinger Motorsports doing a great job in that number 19 Gen X racing car tonight. Brendan, I'll let you bring up second place Zach Lindgren when you're ready.
Alrighty. Up here. Alrighty, Zach Lindgren, this is Brennan in the booth. You got a copy with us?
Yes, sir. I got you. Go ahead.
Alrighty, so you're able to hold him off just by the hair of your chin there. I could say, really loose coming to the line there. Still came home with the second place. How do you feel about tonight?
I feel pretty good. After the first few runs, I didn't really have anything. I couldn't figure out a line the first run and half of the second run, and finally, as we started to run up front with those guys and actually started to stay with them, I had more confidence in the throttle control in my line, so I started to push it just a little bit more, and it eventually got me up to the top 3. I got out front coming out of the pits at one point, but the car was just way too free for me. In clean air, it was a little bit harsh for me, and so I just decided to let Tyler, Mike, and Jared by and fall into a line, fall into a rhythm, and then after that, just kind of took off from there. But yeah, man, that finish though,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we saw the last 10 laps though. You were really battling being loose coming off exit there, so it was a great bit of driving there to keep it there in second place.
Oh yeah, it coming out of the corners pretty much every corner, both out of 2 and out of 4. This car just wanted to whip around no matter the circumstance and no matter how you were driving it. You could have been driving it way slower than the field and it still would have slipped on you. So out of each corner is really hard, and the more and more I saw Bruno get bigger and bigger in my mirror, the harder and harder I was driving. And that first one where I slid down in front of him, I told him I was just trying to block him, but I turned the wheel too hard and the whole car started to go. So, I mean, it was a block, but it wasn't the block that I wanted to throw. And then right there at the end, he got under me, and I was like, well, if this is how we're going to finish, we're going to make this classy. And I got lucky holding onto the car, not getting into anybody, to be quite honest with you. I was very, very lucky.
Yeah, for a little bit there as well, though. After you you and Jimmy McKee, before you actually had a second little battle there, there's an opportunity, I think, up ahead. Tyler Justice, he was within range, I think, and then unfortunately your battle there slowed you guys back down. Did you make a decision between the two of you at all to stick 2-3 there, or is it just you raced it out and you were just the better one there?
Well, I mean, when I was battling James, me and him had a really hard battle. I mean, on about where the car and the tires start to wear off, right there in the middle, his car and my car were about the same. And I just got stuck behind him. I'd get out of 3 and 4 real good. He'd get out of 1 and 2 real good, and we'd stayed about even. He messed up coming out of 2 at one point, or coming out of 4. I was able to stick it on the bottom and keep it on the bottom until we got to turn 3 and 4, which was my better part of the track, I felt. But as soon as I got by him, my goal was on Tyler, and he messed up a few times. But every time he messed up in a corner, I'd mess up in the same corner. So as soon as we started to come down to it, my next goal was to just keep Bruno and James behind me, and barely kept Bruno behind me.
Yeah, that was definitely close there. Well, give you an opportunity here if you want to shout out any sponsors, anybody that helps you put on the show for you.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone, my WFO teammates, you guys up here for putting on the show, for dedicating your time to the league. Everyone that came out to watch, I thank you guys for dedicating your time and just sitting back and watching us. Tyler on the win, Mike on the 3rd place in the clean racing. My sponsors, PSI TV, and 10 Designs. I need to get a new paint on this car. I like running the interstate battery, but it doesn't feel
I
like
got
me,
the hint.
But you know, I gotta thank those guys, Riot, DCI, for helping me become a better driver. The brave men and women overseas that are defending this great country and allowing me to race. So that's everyone I got for right now.
Alrighty, well I think we'll go ahead and get you moved back down and let you enjoy your 2nd place finish tonight.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Thank you.
That was your 2nd place finisher from tonight, Zach Linger. Next up, we're going to bring up Tyler Justice, your winner from tonight. Tyler Justice, Mr. Excitement, how does it feel to win at Texas?
It feels awesome, man. I mean, it was definitely a grueling race. Definitely a lot of handling issues out there tonight, but came home with the win, and it's actually my first win in the Cup car in a league sanctioned event, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, we fought the car all night. It's really loose coming off the corners. Definitely hard to handle there, but we controlled the first part of the race pretty well from the lead, and then came down pit road, and I don't know what happened in the box. We were too far left, too far right, too far back, too far forward. Fell back all the way to the end of the line, and managed to work our way back up through there before the end of the race, and luckily came out on top again. So that's pretty cool, and just glad to get the win. And shout out to Zach and Mike for finishing in the top 3. It was a good race.
Yeah, it certainly was a lot of fun watching those guys battle behind you. Brennan kind of talked to Zach a little bit about it just a moment ago, and if he didn't, I was going to ask him. And I wanted to ask you about it too. We saw a big moment where you started to kind of fall back into the grasp of Jimmy McKee and Zach for just a moment. We didn't really see if maybe you had a bobble rather up ahead that just slowed you way down, or if you were just losing time. But when those guys got to battling behind you, did you feel like that was your perfect chance to pull back away, or were they doing the right thing?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I had a couple moments there where I would get loose coming off the corner, had to back out of it, but I had a real big moment coming out of 2 with like 5 or 6 laps to go. I got really, really, really tight coming off the corner, which was kind of odd to me, but almost hit the wall and had to back way out of the throttle and lost a good bit of time there. But once I saw them start battling again, I knew that was my chance to get up and go and put some more distance between us. And luckily, it all worked out, and we got the win.
Sounds great, man. Well, you did a great job in that number 7 tonight. Is this going to spell more good things for you in the future? I mean, obviously, tonight was the first time all off-season that I've really seen you get back to your old self. It seemed like maybe you were just firing on all the wrong cylinders, but tonight, lead 90 laps of 125. Is this exactly what you needed to get back into a groove?
Yeah, I think so. I think after the season ended this past year, it's just kind of got tired of it and kind of got away from it a little bit, but the season's getting ready to start back up here, so been practicing more and more as the season draws near, and got the win tonight. Got the win in the Super Late Model Series at Phoenix, so I think we're heading back on the right track. This definitely gives me a good bit of confidence for the Cup Series because we haven't ran it yet before. So I know that we have some experience with the trucks in Xfinity, but definitely good to get the experience with this Cup car.
Sounds great, man. We'll be looking forward to seeing more of you all season as all three NMNTS Racing Series will be on PSI TV. Is there anyone you want to shout out real quickly, before we let you go?
Yes, sir. I want to thank that sponsor of mine, SimSpec on the car, every week. They do a great job. John and Ken do an awesome job with doing everything they can to help out with this league. And I want to thank all my teammates. I want to thank Bradley for putting the league on, and you and Brendan in the booth did a great job tonight.
Sounds great, man. Well, yeah, like I said, it'll be fun to see more of you in the future. You did a great job out there tonight. And yeah, savor this one with your team, and we'll see you next week.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
And that was Tyler Justice, your race winner tonight from the NMNTS BA Graphics Cup Series at Texas Motor Speedway in Dallas-Fort Worth. Brendan, it's been a pleasure commentating this race alongside you. That'll be it from PSI TV tonight. What are your closing thoughts, though, real quick before we go?
We had a pretty good race tonight, especially for our last real shot at something from the off season. From here on out, it's pretty much going to be on season racing. So it was good to see one last real battle out of these guys, and they put on a pretty good show tonight. Not too many cautions, and did a really good job battling with that track conditions and the car wanting to be loose a lot. So overall, I think we had a pretty good night tonight.
Sounds great. Well, we'll go through your final results here one more time, or actually for the first time all night tonight. Tyler Justice is your winner from Texas here tonight. Zach Lindgren comes home second place, Mike Bruno in third, Jimmy McKee in fourth, Spence Thompson in fifth, Jared Wishon in sixth. PJ Popham salvages a horrible start really to his race, just for all intents and purposes, salvages a terrible start to bring it back into seventh position. Jared Beasley in eighth. Kenneth Jans actually didn't even see him get up there into ninth, but great job for him and Gordon Larson to finish ninth and 10th respectively.
Yeah, we're picking up at 11th. A great run for Ryan Daniels to bring it back up there. He had an early mishap there. Billy Hargrove picking up 12th. 13th going to Jason Alexander. And 14th to Jackson Allen. I saw towards the end there he had a pretty good chance of securing what looked like a top 5 there. Unfortunately, fell back down. 15th, 3 laps down, is going to go to Kenny Yance. 16th, 5 laps down to Trevor Harmon. 17th to Terry Mason. He finished 10 laps down. 18th goes to Corey Walters. Unfortunately, got caught up in that incident. And a little bit later on, he got in another one. I think that ended his night. 22 laps down for him. 19th to Heiza. He finished 22 laps down as well. I think that was the same incident there. And running out the top 20 goes to Craig Learman with 23 laps down.
And moving on past the top 20 here tonight, we've got Alan Westman from the number 17 in the 21st position, Joseph Andujar in 22nd. Those guys both did not complete the race, as well as everyone behind here. It's going to be Bradley Wilson in 23rd, Jason Burgess in 24th, David Levine in 25th, John Barron comes home in 26th, and Mark Broderick will end up coming home, sadly, tonight from the 27th position, which is dead last. You see a few more names on here that did not run tonight. And that's it. That's the wrap from Texas Motor Speedway. Got to thank everyone for tuning in. This has been PSI TV with coverage of the NMNTS Racing Series at Texas Motor Speedway. And this is the BA Graphics Cup Series. Tune in for more throughout 2018. We'll have all 3 series from NMNTS on PSI TV, and we're working on more platforms as well. So, Brendan, it's been a pleasure having you. We'll see you all next week for more NMNTS Racing Series action.